Hello, is it the case that you perform prep use amputation?
What kind?
Prep use?
What is that?
Well, prep use, it's another word for foreskin. Prep use amputation is often given the euphemism of circumcision, but the correct terminology is prep use amputation.
I see. Um, it's up to the parents of the newborn whether we do that or not.
Well, but if I could ask you, if there was a family that wanted their girl's feet binded, would you respect that decision?
No, I don't believe so.
But I'm just asking, where do you draw the line?
I'm not a provider, so I'm not sure.
Okay. My only point, though, is that performing circumcision is a controversial procedure, and most of the world doesn't do that anymore.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I mean, it is the case that actually 79% of the world is not circumcised.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I would just, all I would say is look into this and think about whether or not your your child would want this to be done to them or not, you know.
Yeah, it's hard.
Well, sure.
I know that it.
And there's also a procedure called Metitza B'Peh. It's performed among the Orthodox Jewish community, and that involves where the mohel, the circumciser, actually takes his mouth and uses it to clean the wound following a circumcision.
Oh,
Yeah, and that's defended under the notion of religious freedom that you have the right to literally to put your mouth and do that to newborn cut boys. So yeah, there's a lot of just bad stuff out there. And,
yeah, I know. This day and age, there is.
and part of why I'm calling is there's someone who actually was circumcised by this facility, and he's really unhappy about it. And what would you say to him?
I don't know. I guess maybe he should speak with his parents if it was their decision to do it to him. If he's unhappy, maybe if they have reasoning as to why that they chose it for him as a baby.
Well, sure, but I would just say that when you say, it's the parents' decision, so we'll just do it because it's their decision. My issue is if there's a person who is unhappy about that, it kind of makes it a hard thing, that you did that and now they're unhappy about it.
Yeah.
So
Um,
yeah,
I suppose people can be unhappy about a lot of things that happen as children. I mean, a lot of kids
sure.
are unhappy if their parents are divorced, but what are we going to do about that?
Well, I
I
think
mean,
to
circumcision is usually made on a health basis where they decided that that was the best option to avoid infection,
well, I mean the
such as a vaccine would be.
well, the thing is, like, when you're talking about infections, we do have running water and antibiotics, which also prevent that, rather than cutting erroneous tissue. So, and,
Yeah.
and there, there's a group called Bloodstained Men and Their Friends, and they regularly protest against this. I mean, the position essentially is that the child should be able to decide whether or not they want to remove erroneous tissue from their bodies when they're of age, rather than it being done as an infant. You know?
Okay. Yeah, the babies can't make the decision for
No,
themselves.
which is why I believe that they should be protected from an individual who would want to harm them like that.
Yeah. Um,
but most of the medical,
point of contention.
globally speaking, most of the medical community um, rejects infant circumcision and wouldn't remove any part of the baby unless there was like gangrene or frostbite or something that needs to be removed. I mean, you go across, Europe, South America, just throughout most of the world. Most of the world does not practice this. You know.
Yeah. Is there anything else I can help you with? I am at my job, so I have other things to be doing.
I mean, I appreciate you taking my call. I mean, a lot of people when I like in the medical community when I address this issue, they often are and are have a short fuse or are angry with me. So I actually appreciate you taking the time to listen to me, and I understand
Sure,
that.
you're welcome.
And I understand. I mean, when we're talking about this, this is a controversial issue. But what I would say is that times and traditions do change. But I do think it's important to talk about this and to sort of think about what it is we want to do. So
Okay.
thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.